2017 benchmark problems 11 through 20. Number 11. What is the y-intercept of the line graphed on the grid? Now when you look at this picture, you can see that the y-intercept looks like it's not exactly going through a perfect number, and that's where it crosses the y-axis. They did, however, give you 2 points on the line. So what I would do on this problem is go to Stat, Edit on your calculator, and enter in the 2 points. My two x values are -2 and 6. -2 needs to match up with 7, so I've got to make sure they're next to each other, and 6 matches up with 1. If I go to Stat, Calculate, this is the line, so I'm selecting number 4, and I've got this equation. Now remember, A, that's the number attached to your x, that's the slope, but B is your y-intercept, so on this one, our y-intercept is just 5.5. That's it. And if you look at the picture, it does look like it's exactly halfway between 5 and 6. All right, number 12. Which expression is a factor of x squared minus 5x minus 6? When you see that word, you need to think about putting this thing into 2 sets of parentheses, so we've got to break it down. Now, whenever there's not a number in front of the x squared, that's when you break it apart into x times x and list the numbers that multiply to give you the last number, so -6. Now, that could be -1 times 6, -2 times 3, or the negative sign could go with the other number. And I'm looking for the pair that adds to give me -5. That would be +1 and -6. So +1 and -6. And if I look at my answer choices, x plus 1 is not one of them, but x minus 6 is answer choice F. Okay. Number 13, simplify the radical expression below. Okay, in order to do these kind of problems, what we did was start off with the original number, and then we started to divide it by prime numbers. Now, you might not memorize what all the prime numbers are, but if it's even, the first thing you need to do is think, okay, I'm going to break this thing up and divide it by 2. So now that gives me 40. Okay, so 40 is also an even number. I'm going to divide that by 2. It gives me 20. If I keep going, I need to divide by 2 again. Now that gives me 10. It's still an even number, so I'm going to divide by 2 one more time, and that gives me 5. Now 5 is also prime because the only thing that divides into it is 5 and 1. So all of my numbers on the outside of all the houses are going to be my new 80. So I've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5, and you can plug that into your calculator to double check and make sure that it really does multiply to give you 80, if I can do this right. There was 4 2s and 1 5. That does multiply to give me 80. Now remember, when you are taking the square root, there's an imaginary 2 right here. So what you're actually looking for is groups of 2. So when I put my new square root sign, there's a group of 2s, that goes on the outside. There's a group of 2s, that's on the outside. And when there's more than one number, you need to multiply them together. Now 5 did not have a partner, so it stays inside the house. So when I simplify this thing completely, I've got 4 square roots of 5, which means it should be B. Number 14. The graph of this is shown on the grid below. Which ordered pair is in the solution set for this? And if you notice, they went from having an equal sign to having an inequality sign. So what I want to do on this problem is solve for y, because I can't figure out which direction the shading is supposed to go on this line until I have the y by itself. So I'm going to start by subtracting the x value over, so it's minus 0.5x. That gives me -2y is greater than or equal to -0.5x and +3, so +3. Then I need to divide everything by -2, and don't forget when you divide by a negative number, your inequality sign is going to flip around. So now it's a less than or equal to sign. For the other part, I've got -0.5 divided by -2. That's 0.25x, or you can change it back to a fraction. So 3 divided by -2 gives me -1.5. So you could turn those into a fraction if you want, but it's not really necessary because all I needed was the inequality sign. This is less than or equal to, so from any point on this line, I'm shading down, so all of the shading should be happening below the line. Now this first point, -2.5. So I've got negative 2, and then I'm going up 0.5. That is not in my shaded area. It's not a solution. If I go to 2, 1, that one is also not in my solution, my shaded area. If I do 2, negative 1, that point is on the line. And because this is a solid line, that actually is a solution. And if I do the last one, negative 2, negative 0.5, that one also is not in the shaded area. So it could only be H. So if it's on a solid line, it's a solution. But remember, if it's on a dashed line, it is not. Number 15. The scatter plot shows the monthly high temperatures in Austin, Texas in degrees Fahrenheit over a 12-month period. Which function best models the data from month 1 to month 9? So they gave me a scatter plot, and we only care about 1 to 9. So I'm actually going to draw in a line after that, because we actually do not care about the rest of this. We only care about these points. Now, it's a scatter plot, and they want me to write an equation to match it. Well, that's when you need to use your whole stat edit. But in order to do stat edit, you've got to write your own equation, or write down all the points on this picture. So that very first point looks like it's at, let's see, if this is 89, this has to be 91. So between 89 and 91 has to be 90. So this is 1, 90. If I look at the next one, that's 2, 99. Notice that these are going up by 2 each time. If I go to 3, that one looks like it's at 98. Then I'm at 4, that one's also at 99. If I go over to 5, that one's at 103, so 104. So that's 5, 104. Then if I'm at 6, that one's at 105, so 7. That one should be 8, so 6, 108. 7 looks like it's at 109. 8 is matching up with 110. And 9 matches up with, let's see, that's 11, so that's 12. So 9, 112. So I need to go to my stat edit in my calculator, so stat edit, and enter in all of the points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, that should be a 4. So 7, 8, 9, and that's it. On the other side, 90, 99, 98, 99, 104, 108, 109, 110, and 112. Now if I go to stat calculate, this is representing a line. We're writing the equation for the line, which gives me this is my equation. Okay. Now the one that matches, 2.5 has my x value and 90 is my b value, so this one should be answer choice C. I found the equation that matches. Number 16. Which table represents y as a function of x? Now for a function, x values do not repeat. So do not repeat. So when I'm looking at this first one, I've got -5 and -5. That's not a function. 6, -6, 8, and -8, those are all different numbers. This one, the -3s repeat, and the 1s, this one, they all have the same 2s. So when you're talking about functions, you only care about the x values. Number 17. This linear function, and it's supposed to say f of x equals x, is graphed on a coordinate plane. The graph of a new line is formed by changing the slope of the original line to 2/3. Well, when you look at this problem, the original slope is the imaginary 1. So if I'm writing my new equation, they said we're going to change that slope to 2/3. So now I have 2/3 x. And they also said the y-intercept is going to be changed to 4. Now on this problem, there is no y-intercept. So if I change it to 4, I'm just adding 4 to that equation. So what statement about the two graphs is true? Let's plug them both in at the same time. 2/3 x plus 4, and let's compare them to each other. So here's y equals x, and here's 2/3 x plus 4. Now this line doesn't look quite as steep, so let's look at our answer choices. The new line is steeper? No. The graph of the new line is less steep, and the y-intercept has been translated up? Yes. Wherever you were, it is kind of flattening out right here. They're not the same steepness, and this was the original y-intercept. This is plus 4, so it definitely moved up. Number 18. Which graph can be used to find the solution to the system of equations below? Now what I would do on this one, because they gave you pictures of the lines, is solve both of the equations for y and then plug them into your calculator. On this bottom one, the only thing left I would have to do is divide by -3. So y is equal to -2/3 x minus 4. And if I'm working with the other equation, to get that y by itself, all I would do is subtract the 2x. So that gives me y is equal to -2x minus 4. So now if I go to my calculator, into my y equals, and plug both of them in, so -2x minus 4, and the other one was -2/3 x minus 4. So let's plug both of them into my calculator and hit the graph button. Now it looks like the only one that could match this is answer choice F. All right. Now for number 19, this one says Alte bought a brand new car 6 years ago for $22,250. This is showing the values in T years since it was purchased. So what's the correlation coefficient between T and V of T, and what does it indicate? Now for this one, you have to have the diagnostic on. So in case you don't remember, you press the second button and then 0 to go to the catalog. You need to scroll all the way down to diagnostic on. Okay. Hit enter twice and then it says done. So go to stat edit and enter in all of these values. So I've got all of those on that side. So 22250, 16200, 11700, 8100, 6300, 6300, 4950, 3825. Stat calculate. Let's go to number 4. Sorry, I'm going to have to pause while the bells are going off. Okay, so going back just to review that, in case you skipped over that part, if you go to Stat Edit and you enter in all those points, go over to Stat Calculate. When you are looking for the correlation coefficient, you need to select number 4, and that'll take you to this screen. Now the one that you care about is R.
Good morning.
I'm actually going to stop right there.
You're off to a great start to your Tuesday.